If you're an old man coffee poker player, like me, there are few words scarier than, let's do the math. Because the second somebody at the table starts talking about pot odds, equity, implied odds, fold equity, expected value, and minimum defense frequency, my brain immediately starts looking for the nearest coffee refill. And listen, I get it. Most of us didn't get into poker because we wanted to do homework. We get into poker because we like playing cards. We like competition. Strangely enough, we like the clickety-clack of poker chips. And every once in a while, we like looking down at pocket aces and pretending we're not interested. But here's the problem. If you ignore poker math completely, you're not really making decisions, you're guessing. You're calling because it feels close. You're chasing because what if it hits? You're bluffing because he probably doesn't have it. And worst of all, you're letting hope drive the bus. And as we've talked about before on this channel, hope is not a strategy. So today we're going to take the scary part of poker math and make it simple. Not solver simple, not spreadsheet simple, not young guy in a hoodie simple, old man coffee simple. We're going to learn just enough poker math to answer the questions that actually matter at the table. Am I getting the right price? How many outs do I have? How often do I need to win? How often does my bluff need to work? And is this call actually profitable? Or am I just lighting my chips on fire? This is Poker Math Made Simple. Roll intro. Hi everyone, I'm Old Man Chris, and this is GTO for OMC. I'm bringing you along on my journey to learn game theory optimal poker concepts and simplify them for real players. Beginners, recreationals, and old man coffee players just like me. Let's incorporate these concepts into our game so we can crush cash games and run deep in tournaments. Today we're talking about poker math. And before you click away, don't worry, we're not doing calculus. We're not building a solver. We're not turning this channel into a graduate level math class. We're going to focus on a handful of numbers that actually help us make better poker decisions. Pot odds, equity, outs, the rule of 2 and 4, expected value, and bluff break-even math. That's it. Because poker math is not about being the smartest person at the table. It's about not being the guy who says, I knew I was behind, but I had a feeling. Feelings are expensive, but math keeps us honest. And once you understand a few simple shortcuts, you'll start seeing the game differently. You'll know when chasing a flush draw makes sense. You'll know when a call is too expensive. You'll know when a bluff only needs to work 1 out of 3 times. And most importantly, you'll stop judging decisions by whether the next card helped you. Because good poker is not about winning every hand, it's about making profitable decisions over and over again. So grab your coffee, put away the calculator, and let's make poker math simple. By the way, if you want to go a level deeper, then I would highly suggest this book by Alton Harden, Essential Poker Math. Everything in this episode is based on topics from this book. It's not going to keep you on the edge of your seat, but understanding these poker math concepts has helped my game immensely. If you're interested, there is an affiliate link in the video description. If you're considering buying the book, then it helps the channel if you purchase via that link. Let's start with why this matters. Poker is a game of incomplete information. We do not know exactly what our opponent has. We do not know exactly what card is coming next. We don't know if our bluff will get through. So we are always making decisions with uncertainty. Poker math helps us make better decisions within that uncertainty. It does not guarantee we will win the hand. It does not stop bad beats. It does not make pocket aces hold every time. But it helps us know whether a decision is profitable over the long run. That's the key phrase, over the long run. One hand does not matter. One session does not matter. Poker math is about making decisions that win hundreds and thousands of hands. If you call a bet with the correct odds and miss, that doesn't mean the call was bad. And if you call a bet with the wrong odds and hit, that doesn't mean the call was good. That is a huge mindset shift. Good decision with a bad result, it's still a good decision. Bad decision with a good result, it's still a bad decision. You'll hear experienced poker players say, don't be results oriented. There's a good amount of truth to that saying because poker is about maximizing your chance of success and not guaranteeing your success. Make sound decisions and over time, you'll maximize your chance of success. Let's start with equity. Equity simply means your share of the pot based on how often you expect to win. If you have 50% equity, that means you expect to win about half the time. If you have 25% equity, you expect to win about 1 out of 4 times. If you have 80% equity, you are a big favorite. Now here's the most important part. Equity is not the same as winning right now. You can be behind in the hand and still have a lot of equity. This is an extremely important concept that can't be emphasized enough. Let's look at an example. You have Ace of Hearts, King of Hearts. Your opponent has Queen of Spades, queen of diamonds. The flop comes jack of hearts, 10 of hearts, 2 of clubs. Right now, your opponent has a pair of queens. You have ace high, so you are technically behind, but you have a lot of outs. Any heart gives you a flush, any queen gives you a straight. You don't know that your opponent has pocket queens, but you can safely assume that any ace or king giving you top pair may put you ahead. You are behind, but you have a ton of equity. This is why poker math matters. If you only think I don't have a made hand, you may fold hands that are actually very profitable. To understand equity, we need to understand outs. Outs are the cards that improve your hand. Let's say you have a flush draw. You have ace of hearts, 9 of hearts. The flop comes king of hearts, 7 of hearts, 2 of clubs. There are 13 hearts in the deck. You can see 4 of them, your 2 hearts and the 2 hearts on the board. That means there are 9 hearts left. Those 9 hearts are your outs. So a flush draw usually has 9 outs. Now let's say you have an open-ended straight draw. You have 8 of spades, 7 of spades. The flop comes 6 of diamonds, 5 of clubs, king of hearts. You need either a 4 or a 9 to make a straight. There are 4 4s and 4 9s. That gives you 8 outs. An open-ended straight draw usually has 8 outs. Now let's say you have 2 overcards. You have ace of clubs, king of clubs. The flop comes queen of diamonds, 7 of spades, 2 of hearts. If an ace or king comes, you may make top pair. There are 3 aces left and 3 kings left. That gives you 6 possible outs. But be careful, not all outs are clean. If your opponent already has a set, hitting one pair may not help you. So outs are an estimate, but they give us a starting point for evaluating the potential of our hand. Now let's get to the easiest poker math shortcut, the rule of 2 and the rule of 4. This is the one I use all the time because it is simple enough to use at the table. Here's how it works. After the flop, if you want to estimate your chance of hitting by the river, multiply your outs by 4. After the turn, if there is only one card to come, multiply your outs by 2. That's it. Very simple. Here is an example. You have a flush draw. That usually gives you 9 outs. After the flop, 9 outs times 4 equals about 36%. So with 2 cards to come, you have roughly a 36% chance to hit your flush. After the turn, 9 outs times 2 equals 18%. So with 1 card to come, you have roughly an 18% chance. Let's do another example. You have an open-ended straight draw, 8 outs. After the flop, 8 times 4, about 32%. After the turn, 8 times 2, about 16%. It's not perfect, but it is close enough for live poker decisions. Now that we understand equity, let's talk about pot odds. Not gonna lie, I've struggled with this concept, and even now that I understand it, I find it difficult to do these calculations when I'm playing live. Now, pot odds answers this question. How much do I have to call compared to how much I can win? Let's say the pot is 100, your opponent bets 50, now the pot is 150. You have to call 50 to win 150. But if you call, the total pot becomes 200. The simple way to calculate required equity is call amount divided by final pot. So here, 50 divided by 200 equals 25%. That means you need at least 25% equity to call profitably. So if your draw has more than 25% equity, calling is probably okay. If your draw has less than 25%, calling is probably bad unless you have implied odds. We'll talk about implied odds in a minute. Let's use a real example. You have ace of hearts, 9 of hearts. The flop comes king of hearts, 7 of hearts, 2 of clubs. You have a flush draw. That's 9 outs. Using the rule of 2 and 4, 9 outs times 4 equals about 36% equity by the river. The pot is 100. Your opponent bets 50. You need 25% equity to call. You have about 36%, so calling is profitable. But now let's change the bet. The pot is 100. Your opponent bets 150. Now the pot is 250. You have to call 150. If you call, the final pot is 400. 150 divided by 400 is 37.5%. You need about 38% equity. Your flush draw has about 36% by the river. Now it's much closer. And if you are only guaranteed to see one card, it may not be good enough. That is why bet sizing matters. A small bet gives draws a good price. A big bet puts draws in a tough position. Here's a simple cheat sheet. If your opponent bets 1/3 pot, you need about 20% equity. If he bets half pot, you need about 25% equity. A pot-sized bet, you need about 33% equity. If he bets 2 times pot, you need about 40% equity. You don't need to memorize every number perfectly, but you should understand the relationship. Small bet, you can continue wider. Big bet, you need more equity. Huge bet, you need a very strong hand or a very strong draw. That one idea will save you a lot of chips. Now let's talk about implied odds. Implied odds means how much more money you might win later if you hit your hand. This matters when you do not quite have the direct pot odds to call. So here's an example. You have 5 of spades, 5 of diamonds. A tight player raises pre-flop. You call because you think if you hit a set, you can win a big pot. The flop comes ace of clubs, 8 of hearts, 2 of diamonds. You missed your set. Easy fold if they bet. But if the flop comes ace of clubs, 5 of hearts, 2 of diamonds, now you have a set. And if your opponent has ace king, they may pay you off. That future money is implied odds. Set mining is one of the classic implied odds situations. But be careful. Implied odds only matter if your opponent has enough chips behind and is likely to pay you. Calling with a small pair against a short stack is usually bad because there's not enough money behind to win when you hit. Now we need to talk about the dangerous cousin of implied odds, reverse implied odds. Reverse implied odds means you might hit your hand and still lose a big pot. You call a raise with king of diamonds, 10 of clubs. The flop comes king of spades, 7 of hearts, 2 of diamonds. You hit top pair. Sounds good. But if your opponent raised from early position, they may have ace king, king queen, aces, kings. Now you hit your king, but you may be dominated. That is reverse implied odds. Another example. You call with a low flush draw. You have 6 of hearts, 5 of hearts. The flop comes king of hearts, 9 of hearts, 2 of clubs. You make the call. Turn is the ace of hearts. You made a flush. Great, right? Maybe, but if your opponent has like queen jack of hearts, you may be in trouble. This is why not all draws are equal. Drawing to the nuts is much better than drawing to a hand that can make second best. Now let's talk about expected value, or EV. EV is just the long-term average result of a decision. Positive EV means the play makes money over time. Negative EV means the play loses money over time. Here's an example. Someone offers you a coin flip. If you win, you get $200. If you lose, you pay $100. Would you take it? Yeah, of course. Because half the time you lose $100, half the time you win $200. Over time, that's profitable. That is positive EV. Poker works the same way. Sometimes you make a positive EV call and lose. Sometimes you make a negative EV call and win. But over time, the math catches up. This is why we care so much about EV. We're not trying to win every hand. We're trying to make profitable decisions. Poker math is not just for calling draws. It also helps with bluffing. Let's say the pot is 100. You bluff 50. How often does your bluff need to work? You are risking 50 to win 100. The formula is risk divided by risk plus reward. So 50 divided by 150 equals 33%. Your bluff needs to work about 1/3 of the time to break even. If your opponent folds more than 33%, your bluff makes money. Now let's say you bet pot. Pot is 100, you bet 100. You're risking 100 to win 100. 100 divided by 200 equals 50%. Your bluff needs to work half the time. That's why bigger bluffs need to work more often. But bigger bets may also create more folds. That's the balancing act. Now let's turn our attention towards common mistakes. Mistake number 1, calling because I might hit. That's not enough. You need the right price. Mistake number 2, ignoring bet size. A flush draw against a small bet is very different from a flush draw against a pot size bet. Mistake number 3, counting dirty outs as clean outs. If your out makes your opponent a better hand, it may not be a real out. If you have 8 outs with an open-ended straight draw on a board with 3 hearts, then you might only have 6 outs because the 2 heart outs may give your opponent a flush. Mistake number 4, chasing draws with no implied odds. If there's not much money behind, you can't justify bad calls by saying, I'll get paid if I hit. Mistake number 5, results-based thinking. If you made the right call and missed, don't beat yourself up. If you made a bad call and hit, don't celebrate too much. The goal is better decisions, not better luck. Let's summarize this into a simple OMC cheat sheet. Flush draw, usually 9 outs, about 36% after the flop, about 18% after the turn. Open-ended straight draw, usually 8 outs, about 32% after the flop, about 16% after the turn. Gut shot straight draw, usually 4 outs, about 16% after the flop, about 8% after the turn. 3 outs, about 12% after the flop, about 6% after the turn. Let's look at a half pot bet. You need about 25% equity. A pot size bet, you need about 33% equity. If you're going to bluff half the pot, it needs to work about 33% of the time. And if you're going to bluff the whole pot, it needs to work about 50% of the time. Let's put it all together. You're in a tournament. Blinds are 500, 1,000 with a 1,000 big blind ante. You have 40,000 in chips. The button raises 2,500 pre-flop. You call in the small blind with 9 of hearts, 8 of hearts. The flop comes ace of hearts, 7 of hearts, 2 of clubs. The pot is 7,000. You check. The button bets 3,500. You have a flush draw. That's 9 outs. Using the rule of 2 and 4, you have about 36% equity by the river. Now calculate the pot odds. Pot was 7,000. Villain bets 3,500. Pot is now 10,500. You have to call 3,500. If you call, final pot is 14,000. 3,500 divided by 14,000 equals 25%. You need 25% equity. You have about 36%, so calling is profitable. Now ask one more question. Do we have implied odds? Yes, possibly. If we hit the flush, the button may have a strong ace and pay us off. This is a good call. But now let's change the bet. Same pot, 7,000. Villain bets 10,000. Now the pot is 17,000. You must call 10,000. The final pot would be 27K. 10K divided by 27K is about 37%. You need around 37% equity. Your flush draw is around 36% by the river, and if you only get one card before facing another bet, it may not be enough. Now it's close, or maybe even a fold depending on stacks and opponent. Same hand, same draw, different price, different decision. That's poker math made simple. Poker math doesn't have to be scary. You don't need to calculate everything perfectly. You just need a few basic tools. Count your outs, use the rule of 2 and 4, compare your equity to the price you were getting, think about implied odds, and avoid those reverse implied odds, and remember that EV is about long-term decisions, not short-term results. If you can do that, you're already ahead of a lot of players who are still just saying, I had a feeling. Feelings are fine, but math keeps us honest. If this video helped, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. What poker math concept gives you the most trouble? Pot odds? Equity? Expected value? Let me know in the comments, and we'll keep learning together. I'm Old Man Chris. This is GTO for OMC. And remember, you don't need to be a math genius. You just need to stop guessing. I'll see you in the next one.